10 reasons why Netflix is losing subscribers. Today, we will be looking at the 10 reasons why Netflix is losing subscribers. If you have been trying to learn more about the downfall that has been impacting one of the world's leading streaming services, then this one's for you. Netflix entered the streaming service about a decade ago and had been upending the media scene up until recently. However, Netflix has been up against a dire downfall in subscriber numbers. During March 2022 through June 2022, the platform lost a whopping number of 970,000 subscribers. While this was way less than their predicted amount of 2 million unsubscribers, business is still not great on Netflix's side of media services. So what does this mean for subscribers who are continuing with their streaming plans? Throughout this video, we will be sharing 10 reasons why Netflix is losing subscribers and what this means for current subscribers. But before we get started, please remember to take a quick second and support our content by liking, subscribing, and turning the notification bell on. This helps us create more videos like this for your entertainment. If you're all set, then let's get started. Number 1. Netflix has been increasing their subscription prices. Netflix has been increasing their subscription prices continuously. Now, this does a lot to make people give up on their subscriptions. While there are bound to be price increases to their services, Netflix has been known to increase their prices expensively. This price hike is nothing new to existing subscribers, but when you look at the history of Netflix's price rates, the picture you get is rather shocking. The starting price was $8 for all three of the subscription options when Netflix first launched. These rates increased by a couple dollars each year, and by 2019, the premium option had doubled its original price. When you look at the bigger picture, it looks like Netflix had plenty of demand and income, but failed to deliver the desired supply and outcome. This naturally resulted in a gigantic loss of subscribers, and Netflix wasn't ready to face that kind of a loss at the time. While the platform seems to be doing its best to bounce back from that state, the pricing setback is still a prominent factor of people canceling their accounts. Number 2. The inflation rates have been affecting Netflix's international subscribers. Inflation isn't a new term for any of us, but it probably isn't a fun term either. Inflation means the increase of pricing. So in short, you have to spend more money on the things you love when your income isn't necessarily increasing as much. However, the inflation rates don't only affect the prices of retail items, bills, rent, and food. It also increases the stock values and international conversion rates. This means that foreign currencies also fluctuate a lot. When foreign currencies fluctuate, people who live outside of countries that operate on dollars, euros, and pounds struggle to finance their subscriptions. Imagine having to pay $40 for something that everyone else is paying $10 for. Sounds financially straining, doesn't it? This strain is what leads to foreign subscribers to pull out of Netflix. It's simply too expensive for their budgets, too out of range. Since Netflix doesn't price things the way other streaming services do, which is based on location, people have to pay based on dollars or euros and not based on a fixed price that increases regularly. This motivates them to stop paying for Netflix and opt for pirated websites instead. Number 3. Netflix pulled its services from Russia. Whatever part of the world you live in, you probably know what went down between Ukraine and Russia. The Russo-Ukrainian War has resulted in Russia being banned from using certain platforms and services such as Instagram. Hundreds of companies worldwide pulled their services from Russia to stand in solidarity with the people who were suffering from the Russian violence against Ukraine. This obviously left all these companies cutting their losses and moving on, because it was a tiny act in the grand scheme of things, put in place for the greater good. But Netflix may have taken the biggest hit amongst all the companies who stood in solidarity with Ukraine. The streaming giant admitted to losing over 700,000 subscribers after canceling their services in Russia. This definitely left Russian users in frustration, but Netflix didn't see this as a big loss. Not at the time anyway. But those 700,000 people obviously contributed to the bigger portion of the people that Netflix lost over time. Number 4. People started sharing their Netflix accounts with friends and family. Sharing your account with friends and family may be a long-withstanding tradition in the world of streaming platforms. People do this for a number of reasons, but mostly to pay less per account. Imagine being able to pay half the price for a premium Netflix subscription. Doesn't that sound pretty amazing? It does to us. Instead of scouring the web for hours on end to find that one Netflix original you have been dying to watch, it makes more sense to either borrow a friend's account or share an account with a loved one to pay half the price for a subscription. Or that's how it's been for the majority of account holders in Netflix. While this is a good way of finding a workaround for Netflix's seemingly intense price rates, it doesn't work out well on the business side of things. Every account that's being shared costs Netflix a minimum of one subscriber. So for each 1,000 accounts that do this, Netflix loses a minimum of $10,000. This, of course, takes away from the quality of the content that they are able to put out. Number 5. Netflix has been losing content from media companies. Speaking of the kind of content that Netflix is able to put out, let's not forget the streaming giant that has been losing content from media companies. Let's recap for those of you who are new to this kind of information. Netflix gets a majority deal of its media content from companies all across the United States. While they also get an odd deal here or there from European media companies, the media projects from the US and Canada are what's keeping Netflix afloat. As of late, however, Netflix has been losing the majority of these deals. Major networks like NBC, CBS, and AMC have recently pulled their contents from Netflix, possibly due to the decrease in Netflix's number of subscriptions. All of these networks have been chosen to strike deals with streaming platforms that are more up and coming. And considering the amount of competition there is in the entertainment niche, they have quite a list of options. Seemingly, though, Netflix is no longer one of those. Yet, this is just one side of the sudden decrease. The other side of the coin brings an entirely different aspect onto the table. Some streaming platforms have also been merging, because again, economy-related concerns are forcing companies to take different routes in order to stay in business. What this means for Netflix is that they are losing half of their income per franchise because of these deals. The reason behind this is quite simple. What Netflix used to earn from 2 different franchises funded by 2 different companies is now being funded by one merged brand. This also results in the loss of content, which results in users opting out of Netflix to look for other streaming platforms with better content. Number 6. Netflix has a lot of competition in the streaming service scene. Now that we have mentioned how media companies and subscribers alike are opting out of working with Netflix, we should also touch up on the competition that's been taking resources away from the platform. Over the last decade, there has been a significant increase in the amount of streaming services that became available to the public. These services each came out with their own original franchises, competing for the top spot and trying to score the best deals with other networks to have a great array of entertainment options. While some succeeded, some could not. However, a few of the leading names that are currently in the industry include Hulu, which became a bigger hit with shows like Only Murders in the Building, Amazon Prime, which has been recently gaining more subscribers due to its adaptation of a popular contemporary romance novel, The Summer I Turned Pretty, Disney Plus, which is best known for its Marvel and Star Wars franchises, and Apple TV Plus. With so much competition in the market vying for the attention of media companies and audiences alike, Netflix has been finding it hard to keep up. Number 7. Netflix does not have enough franchises to keep people interested. The issue of competing with multiple streaming platforms that showcase better potential brings us to our next talking point. In comparison to all those streaming services, Netflix's original franchises are not enough to keep people interested. So what do we mean by that? Allow us to elaborate. The number of Netflix originals that are currently on the platform are very limited, despite the fact that they make up a vast majority of the content available. So first of all, they need more original content to put out there. Secondly, the content needs to be captivating. However, all but one of the Netflix originals have been failing to deliver in this area. So the only Netflix franchise that is able to pull an audience to the platform lately is Stranger Things. So the strategy of making people wait a month between 2 halves of a season was a pure act of trying to keep subscribers on the platform. Other than that, Netflix lacks the variety that Disney has, because the Star Wars franchise and Marvel franchise are both ever evolving and they are such good forms of keeping people coming back for more. Thus, people are leaning more heavily towards other platforms. What do you think? Would you hold on to your Netflix subscription if their original content had more variety? Let us know in the comments below. Number 8. Netflix is losing shares, and this makes them look unreliable. Netflix has been losing shares in the stock market, with investors pulling back their money due to the decrease in subscriber amounts. This works bidirectionally when you really think of it. Some people also stop their subscriptions to the streaming platform because its shares are decreasing. This decrease makes the platform look unreliable, and people don't want to spend money on unreliable services. This leads to a decrease in investors, again, bidirectional impact. Number 9. People are going back to watching films in person. Netflix saw the biggest rise in its subscriptions when the coronavirus pandemic hit back in 2020. However, now that the mask mandates are slowly lifting, people are able to test themselves at home, and things are slowly returning to being in person, people are opting out of their Netflix subscriptions to go see movies in person. Number 10. Netflix is usually late to release anticipated sequels. While Stranger Things is Netflix's best performing TV series, it isn't the only franchise that people were looking forward to seeing on the platform. A lot of the anticipated sequels to shows like Bridgerton, Lucifer, and more have failed to make their comebacks in due time. This resulted in many subscribers either getting impatient or giving up on their once-upon-a-time favorite show. Whichever the case was, people started to cancel their subscriptions, simply because their needs and expectations were not being met. And that marks the end of our video. If you enjoyed watching this, then be sure to let us know by giving us a thumbs up. Want to be the first to know when we have a new video? Then turn on the bell to be notified every time we upload one. Finally, if you're looking for something to binge on, you can click on the video that's currently on your screen. We'll see you in our next video.